Okay. So this is another basic snake setup. This one I've also done a little bit differently, again, to try and show you different ways that you can spruce up your habitats at home. This is one of my favorite things to do, especially in larger tanks. You get a piece of cork and you wedge it up against the corner here, add a piece of wood to keep it in place, and then you fill it up in the back with bedding. And what that does is it acts as a burrowing kind of hiding spot for animals like corn snakes, king snakes, rosy boas, hog noses, all those kinds of snakes. They'll actually burrow in here, and if you put the heat pad underneath, this whole area heats up, and it basically acts, this entire thing acts as a warm side hide, which kind of helps make it a lot easier for you to take care of your animals at home. These grapevines here are pretty fantastic as far as cage decor goes, and for more slender bodied snakes like corn snakes and king snakes, I really like adding these things in because they will climb on them. And again, one of my favorite other things to do is to add a little low wattage heat bulb on the top here, and they'll actually come out and sit like right on the wood or right over here on the hot side and bask right after you turn the light on in the morning. They'll have more of a natural kind of cycle if you give them a daylight, a white light source to come out and sit underneath and get warm. Over here I've got a little ExoTerra alligator skull. These are a super neat little hiding spot option. That won't fit there. But if you have a larger cage, you would be able to put it on a larger ledge there. This one I am jokingly calling my naturalistic corn snake setup because once it's all done, it should look kind of like where you find corn snakes from in the wild. Everybody here at the store teases me for setting up corn snakes naturalistically, but I think they deserve it. They can be really, really neat pets if you set them up in a way that they can actually engage in natural kind of behaviors. This bowl here is one of our new ExoTerra snake bowls. They are actually extra deep and it's nice and smooth, so that way your snake, if it wants to, can fit in there and soak and get its whole body in. And the size that this is, it's not taking up a ton of space in the cage, but it's big enough and deep enough that a larger corn snake can fit in there, or king snake, or whatever kind of North American colubrid we're talking about here. Now, I also mixed beddings. That's another simple, really easy thing you can do at home that makes it look like you put a lot more effort into your cage than you really did, is by simply getting two different kinds of bedding and mixing them together. For North American snakes like king snakes, corn snakes, milk snakes, rosy boas, hog noses, pretty much any kind of semi-arid North American species that you keep, they do just fine on the mixed bedding. And mixing it together like that, if you need to make it more humid for your snake to shed or anything like that, this does the trick. It's not going to mold and get gross like sandy chips will by itself, and it's not going to be super soggy like orchid bark is by itself. So what we're doing here is we're setting it up with the Zoom In Naturalistic Flora. They make these grass bunches, which by themselves look kind of silly, but mix these together. Watch this. Kind of spread that out. And again, the grass here is going to be more for making it look nice. There's no reason for your cage to be just boring and gross in your home. You might as well have a visually interesting thing to look at. And adding little bits of grass, actually, watch this. Ha ha ha. Pro tip. He's got grass growing through his eyeball. Ha ha. And over here, get excited when you build these cages. If your cage doesn't make you happy, you're doing it wrong. So, and we've got one more for the back here. Ta-da! And it looks a little bit better. We can add a bit more bark. Let's pack it in here around the bowl. Although we don't want that leaning on there, because that makes it hard to get out. So some rearranging, and voila. Now we can get the bowl out. And we can still pack it in the back there. Ta-da! And then, of course, as I mentioned in one of my last videos, your super duper pro tip secret to making any cage look amazing is add moss. This is one of our little 4-quart bags of green sphagnum moss. And I'm not adding any water to it because it's for corn snakes or king snakes, which don't really need a ton of extra humidity. And all I'm going to do for your average corn snake or king snake, they'll hide right up under here in that little bushy stuff there. You can also stick it along the back. Obviously, remove your tags. Stick that along the back there. And all of a sudden you have what looks like a nice, lush, natural sort of thing. That's a scientific term for this kind of cage. Looks much nicer than it did before, and this stuff costs literally just a couple bucks, and it really does make your cage look a lot nicer, like you put a lot more effort into it. I would recommend replacing it when it's dry like this. Every few months, you're going to want to make sure when you go through and spot clean your cage every week, just kind of spruce it up, throw it out when it gets dirty. But all you really got to do is just kind of fluff it up and it'll look nice again. It's a super, super easy thing to add to your cage. The grass and stuff looks nice and it's really neat. I'm kind of really excited about the whole through the alligator eye thing. But it's not necessarily mandatory. I mean, you could take it out and the cage would still look really cool with just the moss added to it. But there's a ton of different things. And again, like I've mentioned in previous videos, there's still 2 hiding spots. There's one for the hot side, there's one for the cool side, and we've also got stuff here for your snakes to climb on. So if you've got a more arboreal or more active snake, this helps keep them kind of in snake shape. It helps them, gives them something basically to climb on, stay active, not turn into fat tubs of lard like some captive snakes can. Basically giving them stuff to climb on is good for them, it's good for you. And again, if you put a basking spot, like a low wattage, like a 40 watt or 60 watt bulb over here on the warm side, your snake will actually climb out and bask where you can see it, and then you can pick it up and play with it and hold it whenever you want to. So here you go. That's just one more idea for how to kind of set up or change up your average pet corn snake or king snake's cage. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that if you have any requests for how you'd like us to set up a cage like this in the future, leave that as a comment here below, and we will do everything we can to kind of set it up and show you what you can do with the different decor items that we do carry. And there you have it. We'll see you again later. Thanks for watching.